Brooke Taylor is a singer, songwriter, and guitarist from Melbourne who released her debut album, It's the Little Things, in 2020. Her second album, There's Magic in Mistakes, is not long out in the world, and it's pretty magic in and of itself. So I'm going to ask her a few questions about it. Hello, Brooke.
Hello.
How are
Hi.
you?
Yeah, good. How are you?
I'm very well, thank you. I'm actually going to start on the mistakes tangent because I'm going to ask you, were there any particular mistakes you had in mind when you were creating this album?
There's a bunch.
Right.
Well, it's one thing I've noticed sort of since the album came out. Haven't got them with me, but so far, because when you're an independent musician, there's a lot of hats that you wear.
Mm.
So, you write everything, you record everything, and you do the promotion, and I like build my website and do the graphic design and stuff. And so far, every single bit of merch that I sent to print has got a little mistake in it.
Oh, no.
And that's not deliberate. Like, that just happens. So I'm like, oh, 'cause that is actual irony, isn't it? Um, but with the actual, I think for me, the point of the title, because I spent so long thinking, as a musician and a creative, it's like, right, well, if I don't try, then I can't fail. So
Mhm.
I just didn't. I lived in this sort of safe little bubble. And then I think is a sort of like mantra to myself. And it's like, no, you discover things from outside of your comfort zone, and don't be scared to make mistakes. And I'm a bit of a sucker for alliteration. So hence there's magic in mistakes.
Look, I love alliteration as well. I think it is underrated
Yeah.
in titles for things and just generally in life.
Yes. Yeah. No, I'm all about it. So yeah, hence that's sort of where the title came from.
So, at what point in your creative life did you decide to take the risk of making mistakes?
Probably. It was probably, yeah, maybe like 2018-ish. So when like a couple of years in the run up before the
Mhm.
first album came out. And I thought like, no, stuff this, I'm gonna put a band together and we're gonna get the songs down. Because I'd done EPs and they were sort of like bits and bobs all over the place. And I thought, no, I need to have something that sort of sonically sounds like me. And like, find exactly what I want to sound like and get it all in one spot, and then put it together. And I was doing a lot of cover gigs to sort of pay for
Mhm.
original stuff, and it was easy to just get up and sing other people's songs, which, given my time again, like there's nothing wrong with that, because I honed a lot of skills
Mhm.
in those years about, like, jamming with other musicians, um, interacting with an audience,
Mhm.
what to do when this happens or when this happens. So it's good to sort of, have some K's under the belt in that regard. Um, but yeah, to answer the question more succinctly, probably around 2018, I'd say.
Yeah. So, yeah, we all feel the pressure to not make mistakes because no one wants to look like they've failed in the eyes of other people, especially peers. And if you're around other musicians, you obviously don't want to. But I guess in the making of the mistakes, you're being authentic, you're showing yourself. That's the risk as well, is that you suddenly feel like you're exposed, but it's also where the good material comes from.
I think so. And I think there's one thing I'm learning as I'm getting older, and it's great, is just to not care about, because, spoiler alert, no one cares
Yeah.
about anything. So just don't worry about it. Just, it's the not doing that, you'll be the bigger sort of fool in the end, I find.
Mhm.
As cheesy as that sounds, just try and fail. Yeah.
Yeah. It's that whole thing about, you regret the things you don't do more than the things you do. Yeah.
100%. Yeah, 100%.
But it is absolutely true that no one really cares because they're all worried about making their own mistakes. And
No
but
one cares. Yeah.
for
Yeah.
you as a performing artist, that I would think is a great liberation to think, well, I can get up on this stage and I can worry all I want about making mistakes and how that's going to look. But really, if I just carry on, the audience is not going
Just
to worry about it that much.
just carry on. And it's one of those things that I learnt, and some switch sort of flicked, and I realized, the people that, like, when you're on stage and the people that are watching you, they want you to have fun and have a good time and do a good job. No one's there to, like, sort of pick, like, I mean, look, there probably definitely is, but stuff them, I think you just, and it's a great opportunity if you can be up there just sort of flying the flag of having fun and being authentic, then
Mhm.
you actually have the opportunity to empower someone else to do it. So it's like, yeah, just go for it.
Well, and I was looking at some photos on your Instagram account of you playing live, and you certainly look like you're having fun. So you are practicing what you preach there.
I was just because I was at my mum's house earlier. It was typically, it's normally Taylor Family Tuesday, but we've had to switch some stuff. So Taylor Family Monday. But I was showing mum because she was asking me pictures from the shows recently. And she's like, you can't see your face in any of them. You're flicking your hair in like all these pictures. She's like, you can't even see you. So yeah, we have a good time on stage.
Yeah. Now, as the title is, there's magic in mistakes, but music is a form of magic. There are certainly so many magical elements to it. So I quite like the idea that the magic in the mistakes is the music you've made from them.
Yeah, it is. Like, thank you for saying that, because I think there is a lot of, I do often, like, lyrics are very important to me. They're very important to me because I think that's where the sort of magic really like they can sort of be like casting spells.
Right.
So there's a lot of like the right adjective or the right way of phrasing something. Because if you hit that, that nail on the head, there is a lot of sort of transformative power that can come from that, I think.
Yeah, no, I love the idea of casting spells, because it's the spell you can cast as the creator, but of course the spell may be taken in many different ways by different listeners and used for their own purposes.
That's it. That's exactly it. So it's an offer, it's a contribution. So and it's nice, it's sort of and not the difficulty, but one thing I sort of come up with is, because what I do, what we do, it's so many different genres.
Mm-hmm.
Like there's a pop song, there's a rock song, there's a folk song. So there is sort of something for everyone, for different, depending on what mood you're in. It is sort of both of the albums, really. You can just sort of chuck them on and then you'll get to something that, I think that's one of my goals, is for audiences to hear something and go, oh my God, me too. Like, me too. That's important to me.
Yeah, I think finding reassurance in art is one of the best purposes of art, actually, no matter what the art form.
I agree. I think to just sort of let us know we're not alone. However you feel, it's not just you.
Yeah. So when did you start writing for this album?
For this album, there's some stuff on this album that's like old, as in, because there's one song, 1,000 Kisses, and it's actually a love song. And I'd started writing it, when I was sort of, in that euphoric 3-month phase where you think everything's great and it's like before everything sort of falls apart. But I'd always really liked the song. And so I thought, I'll just keep this in the back burner. And then now I'm with my partner, who's the best. And so there's a lyric that's, I know that this time I got it right. And I think because this time, this time I have got it right.
Yeah.
So I could complete that song this time around. Or there's another song called I Got You that's old. There's a video from, I think, 2017 or something, of Craig Johnston Delsinki and I doing that song at a Sofa Sounds. So people can go back and hear that then. But a few friends / fans had asked for it. So I thought, okay, well, we'll pop it on the album then, why not? Sorry, you go.
I was going to say, it is the last track on the album and it's a lovely way to finish it.
Yeah, we didn't, so Damian Cafarella, who produced it, because we were sort of umming and ahhing about just doing a bit of a fade out. But then, because we just sort of let the boys go, we let like the guys from the Gin Queens, but Squeezebox Wally, who's from the Roving Commission, so the other band that I play in, he plays piano accordion on that song. And they were just having such a good time just jamming it out. So I think there's like a 2-minute outro on that song. But I was like, just leave it. Just leave it. Like,
yeah, because it's an outro to the album as well. And then actually, if you're playing the album on repeat, it kind of really nicely cycles back into the first song.
It would too. Yes. Great. Yeah. See, again, totally planned that.
Now the Gin Queens are actually the poison spitting Gin Queens, I was reading. Did you name them or did they name themselves?
No, the lead guitarist, Coburg Tipping, he came up with that just at rehearsal. It just, just sort of like rolled off the tongue, because we were looking for band names. And he just, it's just the poison spitting Gin Queens. I'm like, that's it. That's it. No more bets. Carry on.
Yes.
So yeah, look, it's not great for posters and, marquees and, marquees, you know what I mean? It's not great for posters, but people, it's memorable, certainly.
Absolutely. Well, both parts of it, Poison Spitting and Gin Queen. So, you know,
Yeah.
you can go with either. Now, you mentioned Mr. Cafarella, and he is a very popular man, but as you have worked with him before, I imagine he made time for your album.
He did. Yeah. Bless him. I mean, I can be pretty obnoxious though, hey. I can be pretty obnoxious and insistent. He's very like he bends over backwards for people that met. Like he's just, I cannot speak highly enough of Damian Cafarella. You know, he's and it's you know, comparatively from the first album to the second album, but it's really great to find a producer that you can just wholeheartedly trust and that really listens to you and doesn't come from a place of already listening. You know, like he'll actively listen to what it is that you're trying to achieve, and he'll always give something a go. It could be the maddest thing ever. Like one of the tracks, we've actually got banjo as percussion. And so like, why would we think of that? But I was like, oh, let's just try it. Like it sounds mad, but let's just try it. And it's on there. So yeah, I cannot speak highly enough or thank Damian enough for his mad skills on this album.
And those mad skills are why he is in demand. So yes, I totally understand. Were there some songs that came more easily than others, either in the writing and or the recording?
The am I allowed to swear?
Sure.
Okay, cool. Because it's difficult. So one of the songs on the album is called "Fuck This Shit,"
Mm.
and that song fell out in about 15 minutes. It just because yeah, I was working from home one day, and my break for the day was to get up and go and do the dishes, and I'm like, "Fuck is this?" Like, no, no, no. So yeah, and then I just started like all these words just sort of started falling out, and and then it sort of opened up these floodgates of all this other stuff I was pissed off about as well, and it just so yeah, that song happened pretty quickly. And it's just sort of like a 12-bar jam kind of. So it was easy to get down as well. We had another friend of mine, his name's Fast Eddie Boyle. He plays harmonica on that and he just rips into it. That's brilliant.
You were surrounded by people with interesting names.
I am.
Yeah. Fast Eddie.
Yeah, Fast Eddie, yeah. And that like they're legit, they're actual people. I'm just trying to think. There was and yeah, another song that fell out was I think you had Karen and Matt on recently. So Karen, I'd not played any electric guitar really. It was just all sort of very new to me. And she had this, has this, I'm pointing at it, sorry, it's over on the other side of my room. This vintage Harmony Rocket, this like electric guitar from the 60s. It's stunning. And I was just having a bit of a tinker with that. And there's a song called You, and that fell out as well. There was something that was just sort of channeled through the guitar and through, yeah. So thanks, Karen. Again. Yeah, so there were some songs, but I'm trying to think of ones that took a bit longer. They're all pretty quick, which, you know, now that I'm thinking about it, hopefully that's a sort of sign of not necessarily improving as a songwriter, but sort of knowing to, you know, when not to push or trying to sort of having more intuition around what's working and what's not, and not sort of like self-flagellating when things aren't working. And yeah, recovering quicker, I guess.
Well, interestingly, my next question was, you have a track on the album called How Does Your Heart Feel? Do you tend to trust your heart or your gut when it comes to making music? And you've just talked about intuition.
Yeah, I think that's it. It's because I am a real ambassador for the gut, like go with the gut. But if it's something that doesn't sort of pop up straight away, I think it is, you know, when you're not sort of sure what decision you want to make and you're not sure about the gut, I think it is something that I say to myself. It's like, right, well, how does your heart feel when you say that? Or how does your heart feel when you think about this? And really just sit and meditate with it, because you will, and there's no right or wrong, but just if you really, yeah, you can't go wrong. I believe in those sort of scenarios.
I love that phrase. You're a great ambassador for the gut.
I am. Yes. Not in a microbiome sort of way, just in a
The gut feeling. But look, We all have those gut feelings, and they are literally gut feelings a lot of the time, and we're very good at talking ourselves out of them because we've lost that awareness of how the body will tell us stories about what's going on, and will often know before the conscious mind does about what's going on.
That's it. And how often will you say to yourself, you're like, oh, I knew that. I knew that was going to happen. And you didn't. Yeah. Yeah. It's happened not once, but twice in my life that I've won like raffles or meat trays. I've just been in places and I'll be like, look, I need to stay. I'm going to win the meat tray. You guys go. I'll catch up with you. Twice it's happened. Yeah.
I've had that experience myself, not with a meat tray because I don't actually eat meat, so that wouldn't have worked. But I know it was a raffle. There you go.
It's so funny that you say that, because my friend at the time that I was living with, this is probably an indication I shouldn't have been trusting my gut because I was winning 3 sheets to the wind. But my housemate Lucy at the time, because I won the meat tray, and they said, oh, do you want the red or the white meat? And I went, oh, I better get the white meat because Lucy's a vegetarian. Idiot. Anyway, I won the meat tray. Yeah. Sorry, Lucy. That's a true story. That happened.
We'll forgive you. Vegetarians will forgive you. Overall, the album has a really upbeat feeling, and there's so much great energy on it. Before we started recording, I used the term the vibe of the thing. I'm wondering if you felt that momentum while you were recording it.
Yeah, we got through it all pretty quickly as well, which is good. And it's again, I think the second time around working with Damian, because if I'm being completely honest, we hadn't jammed them as a band as much, but I'm also kind of grateful for that, because I think there's a real I'd be conscious of sort of like over polishing the stones. You know what I mean? I think there's still got to be sort of a rawness to, and even I think it's good because then you've got the recorded versions, but then when you come and see them live, they will have sort of like grown a little, so that the offering is slightly different. Because I think like live performances are really important to me as well. Yeah, sorry, I'm going off on a tangent now. I'm trying to
tangents are fine by me. I love a tangent.
Yeah, I'm all about a tangent. Yeah, so I think we'd spent 2 days recording at Ziggy Tone, which is Clint Wilson's studio in Clyde North, with Damian as well. And yeah, we flew through it pretty quickly, but I've sort of, in the past, I've always been very meticulous about this has to be like this and this has to be like this. And it's a nice progression to, mature a bit and go, actually, not everything needs to be perfect. It's probably better that it's not perfect. It's, a couple of rough edges it's certainly more me.
Well, also, now that you're saying that's what happened, because your vocal has this, not a loose quality, because that implies that it's not defined, if you know what I mean, but it's more, there's this airiness and breeziness to it, but it also really feels like you've claimed the space with the album. I mean, it seems self-evident that it's because it's your album, but artists can have doubts and wavering and all sorts of things when they're recording.
No, I think that, 100%. And it's, the first couple of times that I recorded anything, and it was this, for me personally, I had this inherent sort of like people pleasing, and there's a couple of other artists I've spoken to, and it seems like such a contradiction, because we live in this world of just wanting people to like and everything be good, and just go out of our way to make sure that people like us. But then you sort of get up on stage and it's just like, I don't care, my way, like my ball, my bat. Please tell me that was great. But then, yeah, and I think, yeah, as I was saying, like really sort of worrying about lyrics or worrying about this, or this has got to be right and this has got to be right. But again, when you just sort of trust your gut and trust that it's all just going to work out. And really, I would say one point of difference from this album to the first album is having fun, like not worrying about it being exactly perfect. Just have fun, enjoy, just like let the chips fall where they may, just have fun with it.
Which is really interesting for me to hear, because listening to those first few songs in particular, I smile when I listen to them, because it sounds like you're smiling while you sing them.
Yeah. And yeah, yes, correct.
You did have fun. That's the confirmation. As you said, you had fun while you were doing it.
Yeah, we did. And we do. Like we just got back from Adelaide a couple of days ago, and it was so much fun. It was so much fun. It's yeah, I have a tattoo that says you get what you settle for.
Right.
And it's just, it's easy. It's like a perpetual Post-it note I just have on my arm. Um, and it's really good to just sort of relax and not worry about stuff, and just have fun with it. And it should be fun. Like, it should be a party. It should be in the, and now I'm saying this and I'm thinking, oh, there's some pretty sort of heartbreaking stuff on there too. But
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, there is, but I think when it's delivered in the context of you sounding as you're delivering it, like you're confident, relaxed, that the audience just goes with you on those stories. So it actually frees the listener to feel the feels, for lack of a better term. You know what I mean? If you're clutching onto things quite tightly and you're feeling tense about how you're delivering as a singer, the audience actually doesn't have much of an entryway there.
Correct. And they know, and audiences always sort of tell when you're bullshitting, I find. Like, you've got to sort of go to where you went when you were writing it and why you were writing it. It's funny you say that, like, for Baby Don't You Cry specifically, I remember playing it to my sister and she specifically said, she's like, you sound really happy singing this. I'm like, you know what, I am. So, yeah.
And also, I do believe fun is underrated, particularly in a post-pandemic world. I'm a great
Right?
ambassador for the gut. I'm an ambassador for the gut and for fun.
Fun. Can we just, let's just go have fun. And I think, particularly in Melbourne, we're living in this sort of like post-COVID hangover,
Mm,
where we just kind of want to feel safe,
right.
even like from a, medical perspective, but
Mm,
also from a nostalgia perspective. I think people still haven't really found their feet in terms of like turning the page and seeing what's out there. I think there is a real sort of comfort in, I'm just going to listen to the things I've heard before. I'm going to watch the shows I've heard before and know how they finish. Not remembering rather that the reward for going out and taking a chance is you might actually find something better.
yeah.
Like, go and see a band you've never heard of. Just
Mhm,
go to your local pub, go and, eat a dish, a cuisine you've never eaten before.
yeah.
Like, it will be okay. But there is still this thing of like, not, oh, is it raining? Oh, better not. Oh, I don't know those people. Oh, I better not. So I think slowly but surely we'll get out of it. But it is, I think, these are facts still.
Mm. And of course, safety is implicit in fun because you can't have fun if you're feeling scared.
Well, that's it. Exactly
Yeah.
right.
Yeah. So for the artist to get up there and be like, you know what? I'm having a great time. And I go back to those photos I saw of you playing guitar because that was there's an immediate signifier there to the audience of, okay, they can relax. You've got them.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. I hope so. Yeah. Thank you for saying that. I do. That's what I hope.
And talking about the guitar, since I'm already talking about the guitar, when did you start playing guitar?
Probably. See, I've answered this question before, and it's about like 16-ish,
Mhm.
because it's funny because starting off, like, my sister had all the musical talent. She's one of those people who can just pick up an instrument and play it.
Well, that's boring.
Yeah. Not that, yeah. So she had a keyboard, and then she got a nylon string guitar, and then she got a steel string guitar. So I inherited the nylon one. And yeah, that would have been around sort of like late 15, sort of 16-ish.
Mhm.
That's my ballpark. I think that's about right, because I was looking through old photos and I got my first steel string guitar. I think I was in year 12, maybe.
And given that you are such a strong singer as well, do you consider them, well, do you consider your voice to be an instrument? And if so, which is your preferred instrument, guitar or voice?
Voice,
Yeah.
voice. Yeah. It is, yes, yes, it is an instrument. I probably don't treat it with the respect that it should, but we are good friends. Like, we have a love-hate relationship. Um, Yeah, I think so. And I think it's one thing that I'm sort of noticing, and sort of, because I rarely go back and listen, or sort of like look at live footage.
Mhm.
Um, and it's one thing I'm sort of noticing. I'm like, oh, I probably actually don't have to push as much as I do. But once I'm in that moment, I kind of just go straight to 11. Like, I'm not, yeah, particularly for my stuff, I just don't, it's not in me to not give it my all. It doesn't matter how, tired or whatever it is before I go on stage. Once I'm there, I am there.
Right.
Um, but I mean, by that same token, I've had like vocal surgery in the past because I've had cysts because I've pushed too much. But that was sort of cover gig days. That was doing, that was like singing 15 hours a week.
Yeah, right.
Nonsense. Yeah, that was like a kind of stupid. Um, so yeah, there's definitely sort of more precautions now.
Mhm.
She says, but yeah, look, the second I just sort of get on stage, and I do want to do a special shout out and a thank you to anyone who's ever mixed me live, like sound engineers, because it goes from like 3 to like 21 decibels very quickly. So thanks everyone. I'm sorry.
What's light and shade, you know? That's
Yeah, it's just full spectrum.
yeah. Now, something else I found on your Instagram was that you have been a mentor at Rock Academy Australia, which is for 12 to 18-year-olds, who can be, you know, not the easiest bunch to teach, but you look like you're enjoying yourself.
You see, you say that, it was the best. And, you know, it really gave me a lot of faith, because anytime, like, so that you put them in group, it's a week. And I think we had 60 kids there. It was one of the biggest weeks when I was there. And so you put them in a group to do a cover, and then you put them in a separate group so they've got to write an original song. And there were very few like fisticuffs or disagreements. There was just such an overarching, let's just get on with it. And, you know, it's one thing I sort of reiterated to them. I was like, just do what's right for the song. You know, if you need to do this, or if you need to go to another bridge, or if you need to, you know, and there would be, you know, jazz kids that had way more theory than I did, or, you know, different skill levels, but they were all so encouraging of one another. And on the very few occasions, and I think literally one or two, that, you know, there'd be a kid in a funk or whatever it was, they were so, like, they would bolster each other and support each other so much. And when they played live, because they'd do like live rehearsals and things, and they'd all crowd around and clap and shit. And I was like, I have the utmost faith in the future of Australian music. The utmost.
How beautiful.
Yeah. Sorry, my cat just went a bit nuts. You just sort of, it's like zoomy time.
Yeah, I figured it was a small animal. Yes.
Yeah.
Now, you mentioned Delsinki before, and I believe you are in a project called The Deserters with Delsinki. Yeah.
That's right. Yeah, we finally thought, well, we better slap a label on it. It's getting a bit confusing for people. So yeah, so we do the Deserters, and we thought that was I'm so sorry. He's just found a cat toy that's got a bell. I only got it for him yesterday, and he's just going nuts with it. Hang on. Wow. Stay out there for a bit. Sorry.
That's quite okay.
Yeah, so we started the dessert because, again, it just sort of got confusing with, because you'd advertise a show and you'd say like Delsinki and Brooke Taylor, but then we'd be rocking up and doing this more folky
Oh, okay.
new material. So we thought, right, let's, you know, do a Malibu Stacy and give her a new hat. And we thought the Deserters was pretty fitting because we're both just like nicking off from our bands. We're like,
Got it.
see ya. We're just gonna go do this. And yeah, there's sort of new songs or old songs from that that he's written in the past, or I've written in the past. And Mick Thomas is very kindly producing it for us. And that's nice because it's songs that we'd written that are sort of new to one another, but it fits well in that sort of like Shovels and Rope kind of vibe. Just playing sort of new songs, and it's sort of not, you know, like I was saying before about being on stage and just going straight up to 11. There is the space to, like, this is an 11, but it's at a 5, because it's a different like, it's a different sort of road, it's a different avenue, it's a different sort of form of expression. So I've been really enjoying those, and I'm looking forward to, I think we'll sort of aim for, look, I don't know, towards the end of the year. Hopefully that album will be out, trying to fit it in between my stuff, his stuff, mixed stuff. Good to keep busy.
But what you were saying about new songs and just
sorry,
what you said earlier, quite all right, about newness and people in Melbourne still suffering the pandemic hangover and not wanting to try new things, because newness clears out the neural pathways, and for you as a musician, that's a prerequisite, I guess, if you want to. Well, not I guess, it is a prerequisite if you wish to progress in what you're doing. So yeah, it's more of a reflection than anything that newness can be challenging, sometimes scary, but very useful.
Oh, and always rewarding, I find. I think it's one thing that hit me, again, coming from that sort of like deeply ingrained you know, like a thing for me is like, you know, like have to be like good and have to be good at things and have to be, it's just like, it's one of my hang-ups. And then I found such sort of freedom in, well, when was the last time that you did something for the first time?
Right.
And so that's something that I try and record to myself as well. It's like, just be, and I think particularly like a lot of my friends have got young children, and it's so important to show to them, just have a go. Doesn't matter if you fall on your face or if you're being an idiot, and you've really got to lead by example for that.
Mhm.
So, you know, and they're my little pep talks that I sort of say to myself. I'm like, yeah, just do something for the first time.
Mhm.
Doesn't matter, just have a go.
Now, one thing I will ask you about too that I actually didn't have in mind as a prepared question, but it's occurring to me, the cover art on both of your albums is really
Yeah,
fantastic. So I'm wondering if it was the same person who did both.
different people, but same vibe. I was doing merch mail outs, but they're all in cases now. No, the first one, her name's Beck Flatley. She's from, I want to say, she's in Victoria. I think she's down like sort of Lawn way. So yeah, Beck Flatley illustration, and then Bev Acton illustration did the skull for this
Mhm.
one. And I just found them on Instagram. But again, that's one of those things, because I was sort of stressed, particularly the second album, it didn't have anything, and I'm like, oh shit. And then I was scrolling and I found something just sort of, yeah, and it popped up straight away, and I was like, yeah, that'd be great. And she's a collage artist. So she actually gets things from like postcards. She's in Manchester, I think, Leeds somewhere. Yeah, she's up that way. And so so the skull and the hair, like the snake and the flowers, they're all separate collagey bits in the background, and she's just digitally put them all together.
So it must be a lovely part of the process actually to be able to commission your own cover art and then see what you've been recording come to life in this illustration, which is like a continuation of your work.
It is, I think I sort of went with, because even some of the other things, it's I quite like, I sort of went down like a tarot card vibe. So depending on, so even something like Baby Don't You Cry, which is the tower, because it's like toppling, you know. So but then just for the album covers, I sort of went with like a high priestess kind of vibes, because why not? Why not? So it is, and I think that'll be a thing. I think it'll be sort of variations on a common theme.
Hmm.
I'm so sorry.
That's quite all right. But I am going to wrap it up because you've been playing gigs. You've got more gigs to play. It's cold at the time we're speaking. You do need to look after your voice. And I've had you talk for a while. And Brooke Taylor, what an absolute joy it was to talk to you about this album.
Thank you so much. Thanks for having me.